if you're sentenced to death and could only live if your best friend kept their promise? Would you dare to believe? Michael Crane, 32 years old, a former soldier who served in Afghanistan, is currently imprisoned in a federal prison in Texas. He was sentenced to death for allegedly being behind an explosion at a military weapons depot that killed 3 soldiers. The truth is, he wasn't the culprit. But for the sake of his superior officer, a single father with a young child, Michael stayed silent. Now, that silence has become the end of his life. In his final cell, he asked for only one thing. Let me return to Montana, see my mother one last time, just for a day, then I'll come back. His mother, Mary Crane, 68 years old, lives alone in a small wooden house in rural Montana. She never believed her son was a murderer. She still writes letters every week, even though she never receives a reply. Michael's request was flatly denied. The public defender, military representatives, and even the media all insisted. No one is foolish enough to let a death row inmate walk out of prison, not even for an hour. But then, an independent journalist, Emma Hayes, published his story on her personal blog. A soldier asked to say goodbye to his mother. Is there anyone brave enough to gamble on trust? The story spread like wildfire. Finally, under the pressure of public opinion and his own sense of compassion, the governor of Texas made a special decision. If someone is willing to take his place in prison within 7 days and take full responsibility if he doesn't return, then he may go. One afternoon the next day, during a tense press conference at the federal prison, a man stood up. I'll take Michael's place. I believe in him. Jackson Pierce, Michael's best friend from high school, now a vocational teacher for troubled youth. Everyone was stunned. Some scoffed, others were moved. But Jackson simply said, he saved my life when I tried to take it during our time in the military. Now it's my turn to return that trust. Jackson was placed in solitary confinement. The media across the country followed every moment closely. Michael left the prison with nothing but an old coat and a photo of his mother. He began his journey, over 1,800 miles north to Montana. No car, no money, no phone. He hitchhiked, walked, slept on park benches, and was even kicked out of public restrooms. But he also encountered kindness. A widowed truck driver gave him a ride for over 400 miles, saying, "The way you talk about your mother reminds me of my husband." A Mexican family in Kansas gave him a hot meal when they saw him shivering with chills. A 10-year-old boy in Nebraska gave him a scarf and said, "Don't give up, mister." Every time he was close to collapsing, Michael would take out the photo of his mother and look at it. Michael arrived at the front gate of the house. His mother had no idea what was happening. She simply cried when she saw her son standing there, thin, bearded, but with the same eyes that had always belonged to her little boy. "I'm home, Mom, but I have to leave. I can't stay long this time." They only had a few hours. She cut his hair, made coffee, told stories from his childhood. Before leaving, Michael knelt down, held her hands, and said, "I'm sorry I couldn't be by your side, but if there's another life, I'd still want to be your son." A heavy rain poured down over the prison yard. Jackson was escorted out. Journalists, media crews, protesters, people praying, everyone was there. Some were crying, some live streaming, some with their eyes closed. Jackson wasn't afraid. He looked up at the sky and smiled. He'll come back. I believe. The execution hour struck. They placed a chain around Jackson's neck. A prison officer shook his head. "This is insane." Then a shout rang out from beyond the yard. "Wait, I'm here. I came back." Michael burst through the gate, soaked and shivering, hands raised. "I came back. Please let him go. I kept my word." The entire yard fell silent. Some people broke down in tears. Others couldn't believe what they were seeing. When the news reached the governor, he couldn't hide his emotion. The world needs more people like this. One who dares to believe, and one who keeps his word. The pardon was signed that very night. Michael was no longer a death row inmate. Jackson was released as well. Emma, the journalist, wrote, "It wasn't Michael who saved Jackson. but both of them who restored society's faith in humanity. The lesson: life doesn't exist through breath alone. It exists through trust, sacrifice, and humanity. The world may still be filled with pain, but as long as one person dares to keep their word, it's still a world worth living in.